The issue is we've got to quit acting like that the American political order is based on the personalities in office. It's based on the people that determine who goes in office. And if the people unite and build movements, they will have to worry about us rather than we worry about them. Lastly, and I'm going to take some questions. Lastly, the reason that I can tell you that you can turn this around, and the reason why Lee is so fired up as we move around this country that we are not going to see workers and students the scapegoats of these deficits that we didn't cause, is because the signs show me the victories that have been won. I told Lee and the Ashby staff the other day, when I look at the fact that Martin Luther King, who was killed before he was 40 years old, killed, going to Memphis for a workers' strike of this union, Ashby, died leaving a beautiful wife and 4 children, never knew his children become adults, never knew if they went to college, never knew if they married, died while they were still in their teen years and preteen years. But he won, because in the end, do you realize that Martin Luther King, who was arrested and prosecuted over 20 times in his life, the second Monday of every year, the second January of every year, the courthouses are closed to celebrate his birthday. Judge can't come to work. Bailiff got to stay home. Can you imagine when they were locking him up? They never dreamed they'd see the day that they would be closed down to celebrate his birthday. The schools that said he couldn't go to in Atlanta, Georgia, where he was born and raised, said they didn't allow blacks to go to those schools. Those schools are closed. Second Monday of every January, celebrate his birthday. In my lifetime, I've seen that you can win. As late as this morning, I can turn on the news, and to my surprise, see people standing in the square by hundreds of thousands in Cairo, Egypt, practicing. Practicing the nonviolent movement of Dr. King. And just like Bullcott and others sent in bullies to start violence, Egypt had to do the government send in bullies. There was a perfectly nonviolent protest. And then even beyond the bullies, they brought it back to nonviolence. Dr. King lives in Cairo, lives in Tunisia, because those movements show that if you stand up, change can and will come. Tell you that I learned social change and nonviolent protest at a school of higher learning like this. But I didn't. I learned protests and I learned movements because I grew up in the hood. In fact, I grew up in the projects in Brooklyn, New York. And when I was growing up in the project, we had roaches. I know a lot of y'all middle class don't know what roaches are. But we had roaches. In fact, we had so many roaches By the time I was 11, I was a roachologist. And I told Lee, I went one night, I got up in the middle of the night, went to the bathroom, and as I was passing through the kitchen, I saw these roaches on the table. And I ran back and woke up my sister. I said, get up, there are roaches everywhere. She groggily got up, mad-eyed, interrupted her sleep, followed me to the kitchen. I was ahead of her. I popped the light on for her to see. By the time she staggered into the kitchen, all the roaches were gone. I said, they were here. I promise you they were there. Now she's really angry. She goes back to the bedroom. I'm totally befuddled. I turn around, go back, look in the kitchen, and they're back out, all the roaches. I run back to get her. She's really mad now, and since I beat her to the kitchen, popped the light back on, by the time she get there, roach is gone. Now she's not speaking to me at all. She goes back to bed. I'm trying to figure this out, and I figured it out. It occurred to me that roaches function in the dark. The mistake I made is every time I cut the light on, they would run for cover. That's how I became an activist. I learned if you cut the light on, you can change the roach policies that they give you out of house. What you must do is never let them operate in the dark. As long as they're in the dark, they will cut backroom deals. They will cut you out of the budget. They will freeze your employment. You've got to march, you've got to agitate, you've got to rally, you've got to cut the light on. And when you cut the light on, you can chase them in their holes, and we can bring a new day. In 2008, we showed at the polls how good America could be. We put the first African-American family in the White House. We showed progress. But now we've got to show an even playing field and fairness in your house and my house. We need to celebrate history, celebrate Black history by making something. And Black history beckons today that we finish the journey for equality and fairness, and that those that broke this economy pay their own tab, and that we stand with labor and Latinos and blacks and women and gays and build an America that has one standard for everyone with equal justice for all. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, God.
Well, please give Reverend Sharpton and Mr. Saunders another round of applause. We do have a little time for questions, so what we're going to ask is that you come to the mic here in the middle. We'll ask.
Yeah. Well, I got to get some rest.
So thank you all.
Ask questions. So, Mr. Saunders and or Reverend Sharpton can hear you and answer your question.
Reverend Sharpton, thank you for being here. We all thank you very much. You talked about roaches in the dark. I want to talk about the biggest roach in the dark. The Federal Reserve, they don't have to tell anybody how much money they print. We can't audit them. We don't know what they're doing with our money. And and they are writing all kinds of checks with the taxpayer's name as the signatory. I want to know what you and Mr. Saunders have to say about the private
First of all,
federally.
I think that you're correct in raising it. Like, I think late last year they just decided they were going to just print new money. And every time they do that, it devalues the dollar. You see what's happened to the euro in Europe. And I think that if we're ever going to make the economy become fair and equitable, we've got to make the Federal Reserve transparent and open, and we've got to have it regulated. So you don't get a disagreement from me at all on that. He said amen to me on that.
This is Sharpton. This is more of a thank you than a question. In 1968, I was 8 years old, lived on the 12th floor of a project building in Chicago called Robert Taylor.
Right.
Me and my family were crying because Dr. Martin Luther King had just got shot. And we felt like our hope to get out that prison that we were in was over. We thought that we had no choice but to live in this project building for the rest of our lives. And we kept wondering who was going to carry the torch, who was going to pick up the relay baton and keep moving for, all of America. And I just want to thank you. You and Tom Joyner have picked up the baton and has carried it so far. I thank you for all that everybody that's here do not realize that on the shoulders and on the backs of all those who came before you, you took the opportunity to stand and keep pushing forward. You never got tired, you never got weary, you never stopped doing the work that has to be done. And from the bottom of my heart, I believe you give people their flowers while they're alive, because once they're gone, you can't tell them how much you enjoyed them or how much they inspired you. So I just thank you that you keep doing the work that you do. I thank you that you take the hits, but you keep moving. I thank you that you put the full arm on every day, and you keep working to make sure that everybody that's in this room now owes such a gratitude to not only God like Martin Luther King, but to you. Because not only did you carry the dream forward, but you made sure that the dream come alive.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And let me say this. I believe that we all should thank those that are before. One of the people that I personally had a lot of gratitude for, I come out of a single-parent home, and I had a friend whose father took me to be his own son that you all would know as the godfather of Sir James Brown. James Brown helped to raise me. And in fact, that's where I got my hairstyle from. I used to do it like him. And the guy that was with him, that managed him for 42 years, other than 3 years he managed Michael Jackson, but he was there when I met Mr. Brown, and all the way through Mr. Brown's career, he was there. He was like an uncle to me. And when James Brown died, he was the only one in the room, and he called me right away and told me he had died. And he told me that Mr. Brown always told him to look out for me. So at the last funeral, I did the eulogy. I said to him, I said, well, what are you going to do now? He says, well, I've been on the road 42 years. I'm an older man now. I'm going on home and learn how to be a domestic husband. And I said, well, I thought James Brown told you to take care of his kids and take care of me. He said, he did. I said, well, you keep your bags packed. You're going to be on the road with me and take care of me like Mr. Brown, because I want you to help me keep this going. And since James Brown died 4 years ago, he's been on the road with me as my gratitude for him helping me get where I got. He's with me today. He's 81 years old, Charles Box. 81. Now that's Black history. He managed James Brown 41 years and managed Michael Jackson for 3 years and travels with me and won't let me carry. He can treat me just like he did Mr. Brown. Can't carry no bags. He has everything in the airport, so I just walk through the airport like I'm Lee Saunders or somebody, big shot. But always remember those that helped you to get where you go, because it reminds you you didn't get there by yourself. You owe a debt.